Hi friends, welcome in or welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley if this is your first time here, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. Happy Valentine's Day! Today is the day of love, and I thought for Valentine's Day I would give book recommendations for every type of romance book that I enjoy reading. Romance is typically what I pull. Sometimes I throw in fantasy, usually it's romantasy, but I like every single subgenre for the most part in the romance category. And so I thought today I would just go down the list of books that I've read, my favorites in each little subcategory, and give my recommendations. Most of these are favorites. Yes, most of these are favorites, and if you want to try this subgenre of romance out, I would highly recommend these reads. So without further ado, let's just hop right into it. So the first subgenre that we're going to talk about today is the billionaire romance subgenre, and this is one of my top tier subgenres to read in when it comes to romance. And for this choice, I chose the Crossfire series, the first book being Bare to You by Sylvia Day. This is a comfort series of mine. I have read it dozens of times, and I have owned it on every platform, the physical, the ebook, the audiobook, and I just keep coming back to them. I absolutely love them. It is a 5-book series, and yeah, it follows obviously a billionaire and I don't want to call her a socialite. She's not a socialite. She, works. She went and got her degree. She has money, but she doesn't touch it for reasons you find out in the book. But it's not your typical billionaire romance where the female is like, oh, you have money, but I don't want to spend it, blah, 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 blah. No, she is to an extent, I have my own. I don't need yours. But yeah, I love it. These characters have lived rent-free in my head for over 10 years now, and I always recommend when I have the opportunity to do so, so I'm doing it now. And yes, the Crossfire series by Sylvia Day. Now we are going to get into the dark romance category, and if you've been here for a while, this book should come as no surprise for you. And the book I'm going to be talking about is Haunting Adeline. I don't know what to say. Don't feel like I really should have to explain myself, so I'm not going to, but I enjoyed this book. I enjoyed this couple. It is not for the faint of heart. It is not for everybody, and I completely understand that. But if you're a dark romance girly, here you go. If you want to try it, don't start here. I think I have another, well, I know I have another video where I talk about all dark romance, and that highlights starting points. This is not one. This is a stalker romance. And yeah, I don't really know how much more I can say about this. It follows an author and I'm just going to call him a security tech person because that's kind of the realm that he works in. And just basically how their worlds come together willingly and unwillingly, and how they fall for each other. And I love to see it. So yes, Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton is my dark romance favorite. Okay, now we're moving into the mafia romance subgenre, and this is another favorite genre of mine to read. And the recommendation I'm going to give to you today is the Kings of Italy series by Mila Finelli. The first book in that series is Mafia Mistress, and it is fantastic. You have a female main character who has been brought up in the mafia world because her father is steeped in it, and then you have a mafia don, and their worlds cross in I wouldn't say an unconventional way. It's very conventional for mafia, but how they end up together, you just have to read it. I don't want to give it away, but it is so good, and I really enjoyed the entire series. It follows the female main character's siblings throughout the rest of them, and it's just a fun time. I think it's a good mafia romance starting point if you've never tried the genre before, so I would highly recommend. Now we're moving into the sports romance category, and again, another book that should be no surprise if you've been here for a while. I am a fan of the hockey romance subgenre, and so my favorite book in sports romance is Pucking Around. I don't know what more I can say because I feel like I'm gushing about this book in every other video, but I absolutely love this book. I love these characters, and I'm soon to be starting a reread of this, and I just cannot wait. It follows a female main character who is a sports trainer for a hockey team, and she ends up falling for one or three guys Yeah. It is a watch use romance, and it's a fun time. It's a good time. I feel like it's so like harmless, and I love the way authors write like healthy male friendships that you just eat up, you gobble up, and you know, we love seeing one woman get all the love that she absolutely deserves. And yeah, I love this book. Highly recommend. Okay, so the next subgenre we're going to be talking about is the cowboy romance genre. And I haven't read many, but I feel like I've read like almost all except for one of the Elsie Silver Chestnut Springs series. And of that series, my favorites were Heartless and Reckless. I would 1000% recommend those books, even if you don't read the entire series. In my opinion, those two are the best. Heartless, you have a single dad trope and nanny and the shenanigans. I love Willow and Cade's story, the banter, and usually I don't really care for like little kids in the stories, but like Cade's son, just, you know, he's the cherry on top. It is such a good story. And then you have Reckless, that follows Theo and Winter. And again, there is a kid involved, but it's cute, trust me. I just think these two books were done very well. Knowing Winter's story throughout the whole series, that's the only thing that you'll miss if you don't read them in order. But knowing how people view Winter, and then like seeing Theo come in and love her for exactly who she is, it is chef's kiss. Can't get any better than it. I love it so much. But those are my recommendations for a cowboy romance. So the next subgenre we're going to talk about is fantasy romance, and I kind of struggled with this pick because I haven't read a lot of fantasy here recently, but I have been rereading a series, and I feel very confident in saying that it is my favorite, and that is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I just absolutely love the couple that this storyline follows, and I mean, Prince Castile, first fantasy book boyfriend, how could I not choose From Blood and Ash? This story follows Poppy, who is already destined for one thing in life. She has been raised to be one specific thing, and a perfect stranger comes into her life and saves her from that one thing. And it's an amazing story, amazing adventure. It is, I think, a wonderful jumping off point for fantasy romance genre. I found it very easy to consume, but I feel like this gives you a better idea of like going into a fantasy with world building and just all the information that comes with reading a fantasy book, and then you just sprinkle love on top of it, and it's just perfect. And yeah, we love it. From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. We are moving into the YA romance, and for that I chose The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. It is a YA fantasy, and there's really not much I can say that won't give away anything in this book. Actually, just holding this book makes me want to reread it because I like tore through this series. The entire series is good. It's the Remnant Chronicle series, but it is, like I said, YA fantasy, and it follows three characters, and the story, how it unfolds, how it unwraps is so like bingeable. It is so good. The plot is there, and while the romance is not the main point of the story, there is like a small romance, like little thread that travels through it, and the ending, how the plot ends and then how the romance comes to is just, it's done so well. And I don't read very much YA. I haven't in a while, even though I have a ton that I need to get to, but this one stands out. This is definitely a highly recommended book of mine, and one that I do plan to reread over and over again because it is just that good. So yeah, for YA romance, I would definitely choose this book. Again, it is not, romance is not the main storyline in this, but it is a nice romantic plot that threads through. Now we're moving into the paranormal romance subgenre, and it took everything in me not to put Twilight in this because Twilight will always have a special place in my heart, but I did read A Lady of Brooksgrave Manor by Catherine Moon, and I would be remiss to not put this on the list. I absolutely love this story. It follows a female main character who has taken a job at a brothel but it is full of magical creatures. So yes, and I would definitely call this a watch use. And yeah, you just see her fall for basically each one of her clients, and it is such a good time. There is an underlying threat in these stories, but watching everybody be loved for exactly who they are is very special and magical, and I absolutely ate it up. Definitely would highly recommend. This is a good, to me, starting point for monster romance. If you're wanting to read monster romance, you might as well jump right in and get as much as you can. So there you go. So next we are going to talk about taboo romance, and I have to list the queen of taboo, QB Tyler. Her book, What Was Meant to Be, is probably the most taboo romance I have ever read. No judgment here. Judgment-free zone. The female main character comes on to her godfather. I know, I'm not going to justify myself. I think I said that in my last video. She did it so well. She did it in a way that makes it easy to consume. It wasn't like he was preying on her, because he wasn't. She was definitely preying on him. I don't know. Read it for yourself, okay? QB Tyler is not for the faint of heart. She plays no games. She has no limits, and she's going to push every limit that she possibly can. And yeah, that you get what you get, okay? It's a taboo romance. I don't know what else I can say. How else I should explain that. In the next subgenre, I wanted to highlight a kinky romance book, and I feel like this one is probably the safest one that I have read to highlight, and that is Minx by Sophie Lark. I absolutely adored this book when I read it. The two main characters are so lovable. They are so different, and I feel like this book has characters that you really feel like they belong to each other, and that in real life they would find their way to each other, like soulmates, seriously. And the way the story is told, just how everything plays out, it's just beautiful, and it just has, you know, a teeny tiny kinky element to it that we love to see, and I would highly recommend picking it up. This is, I mean, it's not like overbearingly spicy, maybe, don't hold me to that, but it's good, and I really enjoyed it. I did this as a buddy read, and my friend Kathleen enjoyed it as well, and I just think it's great. Our next subgenre is YA romance, and I, hands down, am picking The Loser's Duet by Harley LaRue. The Dare sat on my Kindle for like a year before I actually got to it, and then when I actually read The Dare, which is the novella to The Loser's Duet, I immediately bought A Loser's Part 1 and Loser's Part 2 and flew through them. They were so good. I think it truly shows like what a polyamorous relationship should look like, and yeah, it's a good time. I don't know what else to tell you. The story follows a female main character who has reunited with a group of guys that she used to pick on and bully in high school, and they are finding their way in life as adults outside of high school. There are certain things that brought them together. It is on the darker side, but it's not like extremely dark. I would highly recommend if you're wanting to try a YA romance and just step into, I guess, a little deeper, spicier waters. Okay, next is my favorite closed door romance. I actually love this entire series, and that is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. It is a part of the When in Rome series, and it's just so cute. It follows a pop star who ends up in Rome, Kentucky, and our main male character is a baker, and he like saves her when she has her traumatic entrance into town, and we just, you know, watch her as a pop star try to live a normal life for however long she possibly can. It would be like Taylor Swift getting dropped into the smallest town of your state, and while people would know her, it has that like, this is a small town, we protect our own, we're not going to let the publicity know that she's here, or the paparazzi know that she's here, and we're just going to let her live a normal life for as long as she possibly can. And it was so cute. I absolutely loved it. I highly recommend it. This whole entire series is really cute, and the third book just came out last month, and I did pre-order it, and I cannot wait to get to it. And for the last romance recommendation, this is my favorite Black romance, and it should come as no surprise, and I'm not going to harp on it. I promise I won't, but it's The Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. If you would like to see me fangirl about this book and then the books that I've already read thus far in the series, please check out my last video, because I could just go down a whole entire Kennedy Ryan fan situation. But this book is so good. I absolutely loved it. I love these characters, and it is a romance because there is a happily ever after, but the road to that romance for both of these characters is not easy, and it's just the payoff in the end is so much more because of how hard they had to work and fight to get there, and I just absolutely loved it. It pulled out so many emotions for me. This is a book that I will be recommending to the end of time. I'm so sorry if you were here and you're going to see this 1,000 more times, but I absolutely love this book, and I cannot wait to read more of Kennedy Ryan's work. And yeah, all right, we have made it to the end of this video. If you have read any of these books, please let me know. If you don't have anything else to comment, leave me the pink heart emoji for Valentine's Day. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you are not already subscribed, please make sure that you do so. And if you are enjoying the content that I provide here, please share with your friends and family and bookish buddies so that we can continue to grow this community. And I will see you all in the next one.